Welcome back to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. So my husband gave me a very good tip that you should actually bring these slabs with you. So I went inside and I picked them up, and I am carrying these things with me, and they are under notable, so yeah. I guess that was a spoiler, but I'm very glad for the spoiler because it means that I don't have to get back here in case we need those slabs later on. And I wonder what makes that sound. Okay, now there's a demon army here. There's also a demon army there. We're going to move our Crusader army and attack that demon army. That's Brimarax. I hope they do not cast Fireball. They don't. And that's that one dealt with. Let's smite evil on those guys. We can lay on hands. That's good. Ow. Lay on hands others. That's cheating, going after our archers. Filthy scum. At least they're not doing that much damage, so that was easy enough. Did one archer going down. They are being replenished at the infirmary, which is great. Now we can recruit new units. Crusaders stumbled upon a group of ragged and exhausted scouts. They had set out on a patrol mission deep into the Worldwound, but then, when Canabris was attacked, they found themselves cut off and surrounded by demons. Surviving in such hostile conditions was not easy, but the scouts' spirits remained high and they readily joined the commander's forces. Having defeated the enemy, the Crusaders scatter across the battlefield in search of trophies. The officers keep an eye on the process so that all the valuable trophies go to the treasury and do not end up in the pockets of lucky soldiers. 750 finance points. We get another army of rangers. I wonder if we could see here, recruit. Yeah, there we go. And buy resources as well. Why would we want to buy? Oh, actually have to pay money for that as well. We have finance points, we have materials points, and we have energy points. I would like to recruit some archers. We have 44 to recruit. Sure. Footmen, how many do we have of those? 66. We'll recruit those as well. And then we will where is that? There. Wait, why? You are clearly here. So why can I not merge you? Okay, so if I move this guy here. Where are those scouts? Oh, here you are. But I have the maximum number of units in this army, so I cannot add the scouts to this one. Okay. Let's see here. I want to rename this to this Scouting Party 1. And use these to travel the roads. There's the Nightingale Grove. And a ravaged campsite. And some demons. Can we escape? Retreat. We lose 67% of the soldiers, but... Okay, so that's useful to know. Sure if we lose morale on that. These guys we want to send up to meet the main army. Here, and then we'll want to merge these. Yeah, this is very might and magic. We are at the conundrum unsolved. I don't know how long we have before we need to rest, but probably very shortly. If we want to camp, I think we have to go back there. If we need to remove the... how many demons are here? 60 of the giant wasps. I don't think we are able to beat those. Let's head into the Nightingale Grove. Wait. This inconspicuous grove near the border of the Worldwound is nearly untouched by the foul energies of the abyss. The rare traveller who dares pass through here can enjoy the songs of the nightingales in the trees, only to remember too late that the last birds fled this region long ago. Speaking of which, where is the Worldwound? The Wounded Lands, yes, so this is the Worldwound. Click outside of the screen. Yeah, it's definitely wounded the land, that's for sure. Petrified Library. Stone Wilds. I seem to recall that... Oh, there we go. Right, okay. Yeah, let's enter the location. Is this a large location? Not very large, but... Get your hands off that! It's mine! Yours? Well, watch me. Wait, someone's here. Run! Nobody's running. Draw your weapons and fight, you cowards, or I'll cut you down myself.
Let's have some fun.
So he's invisible. I believe I have... I can just do that. That wasn't good enough. Okay, Lan, can you? No, you cannot. Do I have a potion of sea invisibility? I'm quite sure I did have that. Apparently, I'm wrong. Well, I'm not going anywhere then. Sila, you can go there. Horsey. Oh, I can see him. The glitter dust spell did work.
Out of my sight.
Oh no. We want him into our sight. I assume that's too far away. Yep. attack the horse. I'm not too worried about that. There's a marauder. Lan, you can probably attack him.
This.
Scylla, can you charge him? I think Peps is in the way. Move up there. Okay, Darren.
I will see to your demise.
I don't think you will, because, you know... If I haste the horse... Yeah. Everyone gets haste then. That spell is just way too good. Ow.
The spirits demand your blood!
Oh no, not an alchemist. I detest alchemists.
Stab you or zap you? Why not both?
Lan...
Make every strike count.
That was very effective. I think he's too close. We can charge him. Yeah. As you can see, haste, it is a must-have spell.
You are today's sacrifice!
Where's this final guy? He's up there.
Distract them from me.
You've crossed the wrong mark.
That wasn't too bad. A bloodshot eye. Yum yum. Moss pottage. That sounds like a nice dish. A light hammer. It is the momentum. That is quite expensive. 5,875. Then again, when the wielder of this +2 light hammer confirms a critical hit with it, all the members of their party are affected with the equivalent of the haste spell for 1d3 rounds. That is a very, very good weapon. And a light hammer +1, and a chain shirt +1, and blood clarity. When the wearer of this cloak of resistance +2 lands a killing blow, they gain immunity to mind affecting conditions for 3 rounds. That is a good cloak for someone in the party, without doubt. Masterwork Great Axe, that's nice. Yeah, I'll just take all of that. Masterwork Dagger, Chain Shirt +1, Cloak of Resistance +1. I'll take all of that as well. And that. What's on this guy? Masterwork Composite Longbow. Only the armor is not really that interesting. Although, it weighs 20 pounds, so maybe
Smile.
it's
The
better to
world's
put
not ending just
this
yet.
one. That pushes him into medium. Which means that it is encumbered. So he really... Wait, he was wearing... Yeah, that one. So we want him to wear a padded armor, something as light as possible. Preferably maybe a cloak or a robe of some kind. I'm wondering if I can have someone specialize in warhammers, because these are, especially that one, is pretty nice. How are you with, like, have you specialized in your weapons? Not that these are bad. Flaming and cold iron and blinding. Abilities. Finesse training with Dagger. Feats. Double slice. You do have weapon finesse, right? Yeah, you do. Fiendish resistance. I'm just wondering if I... Oh, we can't equip them. Never mind then. The only character that can equip them is Seela, then it's out of the question. That's a shame. I would have enjoyed using those. A letter to a noble crusader. I hope this letter finds you in good health, Sir William. Or Willem. I see now with great sadness that you have quite forgotten and abandoned us. It has been 3 years since you visited your native lands and your father at your family crypt. Last summer, some passers-by broke the lock on it and spent the night inside. As steward, I installed a new lock and cleaned up all the wreckage. Your servant, who went missing, whom you inquired after in your previous letter, has indeed been seen, but at present his precise whereabouts are unknown. He came to us, looked at us with contempt, said something through his teeth, gathered taxes for you, ate a whole goose for free at the tavern, jumped on his horse and galloped off. If you went missing somewhere on the road, we wouldn't know anything about it. Yeah, sure. It's been a complete disaster here, even without missing strangers to account for. 7 days ago, all cows gave black milk, and the milkman who tasted it out of drunken stupidity died in the pain of twisted bowels. There is something wrong with the spring. The water stinks of rotten eggs, and the cattle won't drink it. Besides, some scoundrel threw some dead dogs into the closest well, the one on the crossroads, so we've filled it with soil. I expect the demons are giving us trouble any way they can. Our cattle are dying of thirst. Children are going missing in your protected forest. The woodcutters saw some scarecrows which they swore were alive. They spoke of angry faces and bared teeth. We're afraid to get too close and watch them from afar. Frightening things are going on in the woods. I fear that witches and demons have settled in your protected forest to do their wicked mischief. They are probably the ones who picked the bones of your servant who's gone missing, and you ask us as if you suspect us of being involved, as if we would kill and rob an honest man. It is upsetting, Sir Willem. We never touched your servant, and if we did, he was a wretched man, smug and nasty, and we have no food or water, and our children are going missing. Instead of serving your Lady Galfrey, you should be home defending us and bringing us food. You must have some gold, lord that you are. There is no one to protect us besides you. The city lads only come to find new recruits and take our gold. They don't have the authority to do anything more, and the send-off we give our lads and lasses they take, the whole village comes to say farewell, just like it's a funeral. None of them have returned home to the village yet. We are dying. So, I will tell you the honest truth, Sir Willem. We cannot live like that anymore, but we cannot die in such terrible conditions either. So we agreed with our neighbours to burn down your forest on the next new moon, your protected forest where the dark beasts live. Surround it, set it on fire from all sides and hire a wizard to steer the wind. We won't be put off just because the forest is protected or because no one may shoot game there or enter therein or cut down its trees. Of course, you'll be very angry at us for burning down your family forest, because we've already been cutting its wood and shooting game there, for there is nothing else to eat and no other wood. We won't let the forest beasts steal our children. If you wish, come and execute me, execute all of us, but we won't put up with this anymore. That's that. Respectfully, the steward of Vixala village, to Lord Sir Willem. That is an interesting letter. Long-winded, but still. That is probably how the Crusade has been treating these lands. I don't know what that green line that appears is. It looks like a glitch of some kind. There doesn't appear to be anything else here.
Let's head out.
And the land looks pretty bleak. So, I think we shall leave this place. I'm not up for fighting a demon army of 60 flies on my own. There is a road down there, but I suspect that these two will cross paths, and we can't go up there either. We need to send our army. So we'll travel back to camp. Not too worried about being fatigued. We will rest in camp. I also want to see if we can get some equipment. Mysterious elf again. What the hell do you want from me? Who was the elf that was talking to you? She didn't introduce herself, but she was greatly interested in the volunteers that had joined the army. She thought I might know the elf she was looking for from my mercenary contacts, but I couldn't tell you any more than that. She never shared his name.
Let us be careful.
Really want to know who this elf is. Let's just very quickly sell these things that I don't need. Yeah, I need the money. Actually, there might be someone who comes along later on that might be able to wield this, but it's very unlikely that I will change out the party. I tend to stick with the party when I get it. The adamantine chainmail, I think I want to save that. Type in ascending order. Gold ring. Bard is not very relevant. Counterfeit Derek Sunhammer's jewelry, eh? Then there's all this stuff. Wish there was a quicker way to sell these things. And I could do bulk selling, but I can. And I can trust it too. Not bad. Okay. Deal. Now, do you have any decent armor that is very light? What's the weight of scale mail? 30. I expected that to be quite heavy. Hide armor. Expensive. Padded armor. That is not very heavy. Leather armor. Studded leather is also very heavy. A mithril chain shirt, that might be decent. A weight of 12.5. So we want something that is made out of mithril. Six, 4, plus 2, and 6. 7. I don't remember how much dexterity he has, but probably not that much. $8,250. I don't know if we really need that on him. But I mean, it's not weighing much more than the one we already have. How about these things? No, I have the things. This one is weird. Damage rolls against flying enemies. Protection plus 2. That's you have a lot of weapons. Some of these we have sold to you, I know, but Axiomatic punching dagger. Why is that so expensive? It's a regular +1 dagger, which has... oh, it's axiomatic. Infused with lawful power, so it deals 2d6 points extra damage against chaotic creatures. That would be nice against demons. But I could be looking at these things all day long. Still no storyteller. I didn't speak to Nurah. Somehow I suspect that she would join our party. Knight Commander, how can I help? There is much I can do, just ask. Nurah looks at you with eyes filled with enthusiasm. He's holding a notebook and a traveller's inkwell. You've probably heard about the wound I have, the one that sometimes opens on my chest. Can you perhaps tell me if it is some kind of demonic curse? Yes, indeed, I've been told of your affliction. Nurah peers at the center of your chest. Can you will the wound to open? No? That's a shame. Can you tell me about this wound? Well, it's difficult to say. I know of blades that leave never-healing cuts, of poisons that stop wounds from healing. I've heard of witches' curses that are rewarded with eternal wounds, but wounds that seem to reopen and heal over and over? Perhaps you know of other cases like this? Let's think. In 4671, a Mendevian army corporal had all his bones and cartilage turned to glass. In 4700, a scribe in Kinabris had all her skin simply come away like she had been boiled. And in 4638... Oh, you don't happen to have insects crawling all over you? Locusts? No? Rats, perhaps? Too bad. Nurah looks at you with genuine regret. Well, gee, thank you. You think it's dangerous? It most likely is dangerous, but you are under the protection of Iomede, Commander. They granted you mythic power, as they say. Surely the Inheritor would not leave you to face this alone. Have you perhaps noticed that the wound opens at moments where you waver in your faith? Perhaps it is triggered by doubt. Frowning, Nurah looks at you with sincere concern. Gee, thank you for the help. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you anything useful. I will be sure to study this matter and consult a few of my encyclopedias. Yeah, please do. Tell me about yourself. Oh my, I could tell you so many amazing things, and you choose the most boring one of all. But all right, about myself then. Where are you from? Isgir, a small piece of land that proudly calls itself a country, though it hasn't been independent for a single day in all the centuries it's existed. They have a lot of national pride, but all of it is borrowed, always looking to the great day when they can at least be free from the rule of Cheliax. Isn't that a demon-worshipping country? Yeah, diabolism and tyranny. Firmly believe that Asmodeus and Hell serve Cheliax. Well then, they have some ideas about themselves there. The Isgari love talking politics. If two of them start bargaining over beats at the market, you can be sure that they'll end up arguing about whether an independent Isgir will be a monarchy or a republic. I've always found it funny to listen to, and a little disgusting. You see, there are a lot of us halflings in the country, but very few are citizens. Most are slaves. I was lucky. I've always been clever ever since I was little, so they sent me to school instead of making me do the grunt work. They taught me to count and write, and I was sold as a secretary to Lord Axelar Dresbot. He's the one I left Isgir with, never to return, I hope. How did you come to serve Queen Galfrey? I was a slave of Lord Axelar Dresbot in Isgir, my homeland. Oh, what a man he was. He towered over his fellows like a rock over a garbage heap. A true hero. He bought me as a simple secretary, but he made me learn the history of the Worldwound. All of it, one volume after another. He hired tutors for me, even sent me to meet prominent historians. He didn't want a simple slave, but a slave with an impeccable education. Lord Dresbot was going on a crusade. He firmly believed that the servants of the good gods were weak, and only a follower of Asmodeus could stand against the demon invasion. Hold on a moment now. Oh, Asmodeus, that's one of the most important devils. So the demons are chaotic evil and the devils are lawful evil. Right. He took me along as a secretary, a historian, and most importantly, he entrusted me with recording his glorious story for future generations. In his crusade, Lord Tresbot performed many brave feats, but even he could not stand against the Worldwound alone. In his final battle with the demons, when my lord realized he was doomed, his final act was to cover my retreat so that I could tell the world of his great deeds. Some people have said that what he did was not heroic, just an arrogant moron puffing himself up one last time, but I say curse their tongues. My difficult journey ended in Mendev, where I found my freedom. There I published Lord Tresbot's biography, and I don't want to boast, but who am I kidding? Of course I do. The book sold in great numbers and made me rather famous for a time. That's what brought me to the Queen's attention. She invited me to her court. After all, she was curious about my deceased lord, and she was in great need of an expert on the history of the Worldwound. I hope you'll find me useful as well. So, you're not just a historian, but a writer too. Will you write a book about my crusade? Why not? As soon as we finish off the demons, I'll get right to it. Just take care that you don't end up like Lord Tresbot. Do you worship any deity? She makes a wry face. When I was a slave in Isgir, they would beat me with a stick to force me into believing in Asmodeus. They hit me and said it was for my own good. Ever since then, I don't like temples. I realize there are different gods like Desna or Caden who teach goodness and freedom, but it's just, as soon as I smell frankincense, I see the slave driver's stick. One day I'll be able to turn to a deity without cringing from a blow for not being reverent enough. But for now I let others pray for me. Nurah's smile trembles and collapses. Nurah sounds sincere, but you feel that she's holding something back. Thank you for your answers. You're welcome, but you should ask me about something more interesting. Quick sip of water here. Tell me the history of the Worldwound. Oh, I could talk about that for hours. What exactly do you want to know? Oh, geesh. Tell me about old Sarcoris. It was an unforgiving country inhabited by numerous tribes of Kelid barbarians. Imagine Numeria, but without the Metal Mountains, or the realm of the Mammoth Lords, but with a milder climate. That's Sarcoris. The country was ruled by priests of forgotten deities and shamans. It is said that even back then, before the Worldwound, the boundary between worlds was especially thin in this region. Since ancient times, Dagger has had his claws sunk deep into the minds of the locals. His cults thrived here for many centuries. Aradon tried to stamp them out, but in the end, of course, he passed away. Aradon. Oh, right, yeah. How did the Worldwound come to be? It happened the year Aradon died, 4606, a little over a century ago. No one knows if the timing was coincidental or if there is some connection with Aradon's death, but I'll tell you what we do know. The priests and shamans who ruled Sarcoris hated arcane magic and all who practiced it. Wizards and sorcerers were driven from the land, or worse. One of their prisons held a witch named Aralou Vorlish. We know nothing about her besides her name, and of course the atrocity she committed. By some unknown method, she managed to harness the terrible power of the demon lord Dagger. Together, they tore open the barrier between worlds, opening a rift to the abyss in the very middle of Sarcoris. The Worldwound slowly but mercilessly expanded, devouring more and more of the land, and in a matter of years, Sarcoris was a memory. After a moment of silence, Nurah adds softly, "Sometimes I think, what did they do to Aralou in that prison? Just imagine, she was ready to give herself to the abyss. If only the demons might devour her torturers along with her. Imagine such hatred. It terrifies me." Tell me about the First Crusade. It began in 4622. Yes, it took the church and the secular authorities nearly 2 decades and hundreds of thousands of lives before they decided to take action. In the meantime, Sarcoris was only supported by handfuls of volunteers. By the time the crusade began, the demons had already invaded Mendev. The Crusaders pushed them back in what must have seemed a total triumph at the time, the forces of good easily crushing the demons on all fronts. They erected Dresden on the lands they conquered, an indestructible fortress and the capital of the Crusader movement. In 4630, 8 years after it began, the First Crusade was declared victorious. It was the first triumph of the Crusaders, and unfortunately, the last. The Second Crusade? In 4638, the Worldwound suddenly started expanding, and a new wave of demons appeared. The Crusaders were all but delighted. Last time they had routed the forces of the Abyss and they welcomed another chance to prove themselves. But this time, everything was different. Instead of scattered gangs, they faced a large and organized army. Dresden was besieged, and the Crusaders lost all the lands they had won back before. They had to retreat, and all that remained of Sarcoris was left to the demons. But while the monsters were devouring the unprotected lands, the Crusaders erected a chain of ward stones along the border with the Worldwound. We have Iomade and her herald to thank for their help. It was the Second Crusade's only victory, but it halted the wound's growth. Catastrophe had become a stalemate, at the cost of tremendous sacrifice. And the Third Crusade? About 50 years after the opening of the Worldwound, Descari found an ally. Baphomet entered the war, a cunning, insidious demon lord who prefers deception to open conquests. He sets his enemies against each other and lures the virtuous onto the path of wickedness. Traitors appeared among the Crusaders, secret agents of his cult. For a time, no one suspected a thing, even as they watched helplessly as the Crusader movement fell to ruin. Where once valor stood proudly, now greed and dumb cruelty reigned, and outrage was drowned in apathy. In 4665, the Church announced a new crusade hoping to boost morale. They did not succeed, to put it mildly. Some fought the demons in earnest, and for a time they even dared hope to retake Dresden, but the Third Crusade would be remembered as a witch hunt in every sense. Inquisitors hoped to purge any cultists from the ranks of fighters, but instead they got a barrage of denunciations, widespread suspicions, and innocent victims. It sometimes happened that the two orders would denounce each other as traitors and wipe each other out, much to the demons' delight. Just 3 years later, in 4668, the Church put the disgrace to an end. Of all the Crusades, that one was the least glorious. And finally, the Fourth Crusade. Of course, the demons had no intention of sitting quietly caged behind the ward stones. They kept attacking Canabras, trying to reach the stone and destroy it, or just scratch its surface, or if even that wasn't possible, befoul it. The Crusaders drove the demons away from the city again and again. The Fourth Crusade would last for 15 years, an exhausting study in positional warfare. The demons attacked, and they were pushed back. The Crusaders went on the offensive, but were forced to retreat, and all the while the losses were tremendous. The Fourth Crusade's only achievement was that they didn't let a single wardstone fail. Or, they didn't retake a sliver of land, to say nothing of Dresden. So many lives just to maintain the stalemate. Can imagine how that affected. Thank you for your answers. My pleasure. You just have to remember to stop me, or I'll go on about it forever. I have to go. If you have any questions, come back. I don't know about that. Okay, so I also wanted to talk to August Worm. We don't need to hear the story about him again, because we've already done that. Haven't we asked this? Yeah. Right, okay, that's a new one. If he was afraid to, no. But, weird. I apologize for that. I hope you could read that yourself. But why have you decided to support the Crusades now? With all due respect, that is none of your business. I have my reasons. Perhaps I felt a rush of patriotism when Cannabis was destroyed. Anyway, why would you think I never supported the Crusaders? Perhaps I simply don't like to brag about my donations. Ostentatious charity only attracts beggars. I would wager that Irabeth has no idea whose money she's spending on drinks and supplies. You hide the fact that Camellia is your daughter? Yeah, didn't I tell you this at the mansion? Yep. How did Camellia's mother die? Horgus pierces you with a long, heavy stare. I am not going to tell you about that. Some things ought to remain private. Well, he seems like an honourable fellow, actually. What can you tell me about Count Darren Arenday? The nobles of Cannabis should be acquainted with each other, shouldn't they? He is a brilliant young man with a brilliant pedigree, and that story of his? The nobility is the glue that keeps our society together. I suppose that is why demons so often choose their estates as primary targets. Who would notice the demons' bloody massacres if they only slaughtered poor country folk? The Arenday family shared the tragic plight of the Drugurms. Along with many other members of the nobility, they fell victim to a treacherous attack during a major celebration taking place at their family estate. I hadn't received an invitation and was slightly insulted by the snub, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. The gods saved me from a terrible fate. All the guests died that day from a magical demonic disease. I sympathize with the Count deeply. He has endured so much, and it's no wonder he keeps himself aloof from me. I think this is due to the fact that Horgus Gwyrm's fate so resembles his own, and we both have to relive those horrible memories whenever we see each other. New loot? Probably not. The same.
Something here.
It is new. There is something here as well. Okay. Well, you guys can read this. Making ours be damned. It's actually quite on spot when it goes to the Inquisitors, at least. So, yeah, there's been a lot of pain caused by the Inquisition, that's for sure.
I'm gone.
I'm going to go take a nap. After that, we will end the episode, I think. In resting? Maybe if you pray to Iomade, even just once, a miracle will happen. How do you know it won't? I think if I begin to pray, Iomade herself will be so astonished she will descend from heaven to find out what calamity has occurred. It's impossible not to like him. I mean, you guys don't like him. Any of you, you have to let me know, because I would be curious to hear if anyone seriously doesn't like the humor that they've written into this character. I mean, of all the characters, he definitely has the most personality. A unit of mercenaries serving Horgus Gwyrm has reached the troops with a chest full of gold coins and a message from Sir Horgus to score more victories. That's nice. Well, we'll have a look at that in the next episode. So if you do have any questions or comments, then please leave those in the comment section below. And for now, thank you all so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed the episode, and I will be seeing you all in the next one.